Alright, Lucinda earns $20 each week. She spends $5 each week and saves the rest. The table below shows the total amount that she saved at the end of each week for 4 weeks. So Lucinda continues to save at the same rate, we're assuming that. What will be Lucinda's total amount saved at the end of 7 weeks? Show or explain how you got your answer. We try that out here. We've got 4 weeks right now for $60. Do you notice any patterns with this right here? It seems that the week is going up by 1, right? And it seems that the total amount saved is going up by $15. That makes sense? So this next week here would be 5 if we kept this chart going. And we would add $15 onto here, so we'd get 75. And so if you keep doing this, I'm not going to give it away, but I think if you keep doing this, you'll be able to figure out what happens at 7 weeks. You just got to go up here. This will be week 6, and you got to fill in a number down here. And then this will be week 7. You can fill in a number down here. Another way of thinking about this, you remember that old saying, if the chart goes across, as it's going across right here, the rule goes down. So how do we get from 1 to 15? How do we get from 2 to 30? How do we get from 3 to 45? How do we get from 4 to 60? I think it's the same thing each time. That's the way the rule works. So if you can determine that, that might be another way. Another way of thinking about it too, she's getting 20 bucks each week, and she's spending 5 of it. So if you just kept that pattern each time, you might be able to figure out the answer that way too. That's 3 different ways. I'm sure you might have even thought of a different one. I want to look at the next question here. Question B. So, use numbers, words, or symbols to write an expression. That's going to be an important word. We'll review that in a second. That represents Lucinda's total amount saved at the end of n weeks. So, expression, if we think of an algebraic expression, that's like b plus 6, or 7 times c, or g minus 8, or n divided by 3. All of these things have 3 things in common. They have a variable, like the letter B or the letter C here. They have a constant, which is like the number 7, or the number 8, or the number 3. They have an operation. That's the third thing. They have a subtraction sign or a division sign, whatever it might be. So in this case, we need to come up with a rule that uses a variable, n, and we still have that same information from before. So what's the rule? How do we figure out, regardless of what the number of weeks says? Let's say the week, we can see how much it was for 3, 4 weeks, but what if we said, I don't know how many weeks there are. Let's say there are n weeks. How do we figure out how much money there is? What would we have to do to n? Well, what are you doing each time to the weeks? I don't know. You have to figure that out. But it's the same thing each time, I think. The chart goes across, the rule goes down, okay? And you can also make this into an equation if you're really good. If you think about this being the input value, the weeks, and this being the output values, that's a little extra stuff. But you can make this into an equation. And then finally, we have how many weeks will it take Lucinda to save $300? Show or explain 2 different ways how you got your answer. Well, I'm going to pretend instead of 300, since I don't want to give the answer away, I'm going to pretend the answer is asking for 150. If it was asking for $150, well, there's a bunch of ways we can do this. If we multiply this right here by 10, that would make that 10 weeks, right? 1 times 10. And this by 10, that would make it 150 bucks. Guess what? We just figured out one way to do this. We just add a 0 onto these. So at 10 weeks, they'll earn 150 bucks. We could also have done, I don't know, it says we want 150 bucks. And it seems like they are earning $15 every week. So if we do $15 divided by $150, $15 per week, we'd end up with 10 weeks. That's the second way to do it, and there are several more ways, I promise you, to do this problem. But anyway, this one's asking for $300, so see if you can come up with that.